Okay, awesome. Yay. Well, good morning. So it's Courtney and I, and this is the second Tune In Tuesday of our lives. So Diane Finnestead Ellis and Courtney Hudson. So through the powers of technology, we're able to be from anywhere in the world. Right now, I'm in Valley Park, Missouri, and Courtney is somewhere in the vicinity of St. Louis. She's keeping herself incognito today, folks. So today's topic is for Tune In Tuesday. It is heart health. It's keeping our heart healthy, so that we can make sure that we are able to love as much as we love the things that we do, love the people in our life, and also love ourselves. And that's what this is about. Small changes today can protect your heart tomorrow. So, Courtney's got this gorgeous PowerPoint. Are we able to share it, Courtney?
I will put it in the comments of the video,
Oh, okay. Awesome.
but that's the easiest way to do it, I figured.
Okay, so that's what we'll do. So the risk factor statistics, here you go. Oh my gosh. Courtney, when I read these this morning, I couldn't believe it. It's hard to believe that 47% of United States adults have high blood pressure. It almost seems like it's just commonplace that when we ask people what medication they take, especially those who are over 65, they all say, "Oh, I'm just taking high blood pressure medication and cholesterol medication." Like I'm just drinking water today and I'm eating bread, right? It's just very commonplace. So it's 47% of adults have high blood pressure. I don't really know what they categorize adults to be. Like if it's over 21, I mean, like when do we become an adult, really?
Right. Right, that's true. I didn't give a specific age, so I don't know what it would be either, but I don't know if we
But
ever become adults.
I think I know some adults, but some of my friends are not adults yet. We're not going to tell them. Okay, so over 72% of US adults have an unhealthy weight. Now, I think they're talking about like everybody who's over 21,
I would
right?
agree there. Yeah.
I mean, in our country, they say that we have so many preservatives, so many different things that we cannot pronounce in our food. In fact, like 2 weeks ago, when I was in Washington, D.C., the FDA did a presentation for NABIP, for the National Association of Benefits and Insurance Professionals. And they were saying that you can turn it over and you can see that 80% of what's in our food to preserve our food goes into our body. And so it stays in our body longer. And that's why most people are taking probiotics. I mean, our parents never had to take probiotics in order to create this, wonderful biome in our system. But that unhealthy way, it's hard to just process it naturally in order to release that. So we have the 72% of US adults because in other countries they don't have all of those products that are in their diet or even allowed in their country. So smoking causes 7.25 million deaths annually. Now I'm going to say smoking is smoking. Is smoking is smoking, not just cigarettes. It could be an e-cigarette to, legalize marijuana to non-legal marijuana, cannabis, whatever it is. So smoking causes 7.25 million deaths. And it's not exactly, just the act of smoking. It's what you're doing to your lungs, your ability to breathe in order to regulate your system. So 4 out of 5 cardiovascular deaths occurred in people over 65. Okay, so everybody that I'm talking to, mainly, when they go on to Medicare, that statistic, that's the one that stood out to me. It was the 4 out of 5 cardiovascular deaths occurred in people over 65. It's something I've never really brought to the table. I've never really said, hey, we've got to talk about heart disease. But now I know that I need to do that. So only about 25% of US adults meet recommended physical activity guidelines. And so physical activity can be moving. As long as you're moving, a body in motion stays in motion. Hello, we all learned that, back in our days of taking science classes. And it's one where you just, if once you're moving, you're moving, you're moving. And sometimes it hurts, right? And then we don't want to move. So just like on Saturday night when I did line dancing, it was the first time I danced in forever. I hurt so bad on Sunday. And the first thing that my sweet husband said to me, he goes, well, time to move again. Get to moving. And then once you move your body around, then all of a sudden it just doesn't hurt anymore. So, a sedentary life breeds a sedentary life. A life that moves is a life that's flowing, and your body is flowing with you. So, some disturbing statistics regarding cardiovascular health. I'm just going to read them and you guys take it for what it's worth. And it shows your heart trying to pump. Cardiovascular disease is the leading cause of death globally. In the United States in 2023, one death every 34 seconds was attributed to cardiovascular disease. Someone has a heart attack every 40 seconds, and approximately 805,000 annually happen as a heart attack every 40 seconds. Every 40 seconds. Watch the clock. Every 40 seconds. Nearly half of adults in the United States have at least one major risk factor for heart disease, and we're going to go over those. And cardiovascular issues will affect nearly every family at some point throughout life. I can remember when my dad had his heart attack. My dad was always overweight. My dad was always a big man. Well, we didn't know that there was this little strong man inside of him. And so when he started to lose weight, all my friends said, I've never seen your dad look like that before. I don't recognize your dad. But my dad felt so strong. And I think he gave himself like an extra 15 years when he lost that weight. I can remember him working out and just sweating, just sweating. And he'd come home and he was just stinky. Ugh. And I would say, Dad, what are you going to do now? He goes, I'm going to eat my salad. And he'd have this huge, massive salad. And he would just congratulate himself by putting all this really good food into himself. And then he'd cheat only with a little cinnamon crisp cookie. That was it. And he would look forward to that. And he was like, I earned it. So it's just amazing the habits that the change. So modifiable risk factors, health and lifestyle habits. Smoking, oh my gosh. And secondhand smoking can be a big deal too. High blood pressure, high cholesterol, obesity, physical inactivity, unhealthy diet, diabetes and pre-diabetes, alcohol consumption, stress, sleep issues. They all attribute to the risk factors. Now, non-modifiable risk factors, these are risk factors that cannot be changed. And that's your age. As we age, the risk increases as we get older, obviously, because we heard that statistic earlier about the over 65-year-olds. And then men have a higher risk generally, but women's risk increases after menopause. Why? Because we go through all of those hormonal changes. So look at last month's women's health that we concentrated on, and you'll get a lot of tips about being a very healthy woman in our society. So genetics, family history, having a history of heart disease significantly increases risk. So this is the one thing that I don't like to talk about. I look like my grandmother. Guess what? My dad looks just like her too. So this is on my paternal side. I mean, I am the spitting image of Bon Mella. I just look like her. And I think the inside of me looks like her too. So my heart, my brain, everything. My dad used to say, you remind me so much of my mother. Well, folks, I've outlived his mother because my grandmother passed when she was in her early 50s. So now I'm somewhere in my 50s. I'm going to tell you exactly where I am. But I just did have a birthday. And it was one where I thought, oh my gosh, I've lived longer than my grandma. And it's one where I look at my life, I look at my lifestyle, and I say, what can I do differently to really live a long life? Because for my dad, when my dad passed at age 85, he was the longest living relative on his side of the family in the history of his family because he modified all of these risk factors and he controlled what he could control, and then he just dealt with the other things too. He said, I don't care if I'm wrinkly, if I lose weight, that's okay, I earned it. So I'm going to get used to that saying too. So warning signs of cardiovascular disease, here you go: chest pain and discomfort. Okay, we've all heard about that, so we pay attention to it. And extreme fatigue and weakness. Extreme fatigue and weakness. This is not after you've worked out, folks. This is you are just absolutely tired. And it's because your body's not getting the blood flow that it needs. Your body's not getting the distribution of nutrients. It's not getting the ability to make new connections and to regenerate all of the blood that's in your body and the oxygen that we need in order to function. So, shortness of breath, again, that's the oxygen that we need to live. Dizziness, lightheadedness, or fainting, that is something to pay attention to. Nausea, indigestion, cold sweats, radiating pain, like one that starts someplace and then it moves to another, or swelling. So let's talk about this. Inflammation happens, especially to men and women especially after the change. And it's one where you have to pay attention to that. Am I bloated for some reason? Does my face look different? Do I feel different? What did I eat? Is it something in my diet? Is it stress? Why is it that I'm holding on to that swelling? Because the swelling isn't just in your heart, and it's in your whole body. It could also be your brain too. How your body is feeling, your brain is not anything different. We're all connected. Sometimes we forget that. I know I forget it. So the definition of cardiovascular disease: a group of disorders affecting the heart and blood vessels, often driven to build up the plaque in the arteries. So here are some things to know that are associated with this. So cardio artery disease: narrowed arteries that supply blood to the heart, often causing chest pain or heart attacks. Okay, we know about cardio artery disease. We've heard about it. We've known friends that have had it. We've had parents, friends. Everyone has been touched by this. But let's talk about cerebrovascular disease. Blood flow is affected to the brain and it causes a stroke, or it causes a TIA, a transient ischemic attack, a TIA, which is a mini stroke. And so we have to pay attention to those mini strokes immediately and seek immediate medical attention. Don't guess it. Don't say, well, I'm going to wait. Don't wait. Just go and take care of it. Go 911, go to the hospital, go to the emergency room. Make sure that you are attending to that. Now, arrhythmias, pay attention to something that's an arrhythmia, an abnormal or irregular heart rhythm, such as AFib. Is it something that you feel once, twice? Is it something when you lay down? Is it something after exercise? Is it something after you eat? Is it just something that just happens out of the blue? Don't ignore this. Make sure that you go and you explain this to your doctor. You seek medical attention. You might just need to wear a heart monitor so they can see what the normal heartbeat is. Always get that base rhythm. So if it's arrhythmic, then they can actually do something to help you. Heart failure: the heart cannot pump enough blood to meet the body's needs, which can lead to other organ systems failing, and they fail additionally. Now, my mom, when she had her first heart attack, She said, I don't feel right. And she was just sweaty. She was just really, really, really sweaty. And she was like, I don't just feel, she's like, I just feel uncomfortable. She was just agitated. She went to the hospital. They put her on the gurney, and the doctor said to her, oh my God, you're having your heart attack right now. We're recording your heart attack right now. So the doctor got all excited about it. My mom's like, this is a good thing? This is a bad thing? What are you going to do? Well, after that, they were able to do all the tests, but they were able to see what my mom's heart looked like while she was having a heart attack. Now, she had all the warning signs. She should not have ever ignored that. But thank God to modern science, they were able to help her, revive her, give her the information that she needed, and she was able to live another 15 years. Amazing what our medical system can do. You got to pay attention though and seek it out. So, what are the major risk factors? Well, there's tons. There's so many hard numbers here. You're not going to believe this, but it's true because it's what they're saying right from the source, the American Heart Association. So 1 million people will have a heart attack or die from coronary artery disease this year. 1 million. Pay attention to your body. 16.5 million Americans age 20 and older who are living with coronary artery disease right now. 16.5 million. 103 million adults have high blood pressure. That's why we say it's not that big of a deal. It is a big deal. You have to pay attention to it. You can't just say, I just take this little pill, right? Come on. You take it for a reason. When do you take it? Should you take it with food? Should you take it after you exercise? These are the questions you should be asking your doctor. And then also 23 million adults have type 2 diabetes. Holy cow. So this is something we've got to pay attention with our food and what we're putting in our body. And 15% of adults who smoked in 2015, they're the hard numbers. They're the ones that have heart attacks right now. So 56 million people 40 and older who are eligible for cholesterol lowering statins. All the statins that we hear of. And they're hard to spell when we look them up and we see, what's the lowest price we can get on these drugs. My goodness, it is 56 million people. That is too many. And 38% of adults who were obese as of 2014, they have had a heart attack. And the numbers go on and on to 6.5 million Americans aged 20 and older are living with heart failure. Heart failure. So they've gone beyond what we would say they've experienced a heart attack, they're just on a medication, their heart has failed them. So what are some ways to reduce these risk factors? Here are some ways. In men, and when we say, women have different signs, listen to the signs. If you're looking for a sign, here it is. Women, pain in the jaw, TMJ, temporomandibular joint pain, right here, right there, right where your jaw connects, okay? Right there, right here. So that is where you're going to feel it. You're going to feel it down here too. And that's pain in the jaw, in the back, and in the neck, and in your arm. Why would there be pain in your arm? Because your heart is trying to have the blood flow. If you're feeling pain in your arm, it just might be your heart trying to tell you something. Shortness of breath, nausea, extreme fatigue. So watch for these signs. Now, men, the most common in men is chest pain. That's the one. Sudden dizziness, a heartburn-like feeling. It could be just unusual. With my mom, it was the cold sweats. That's the one. She couldn't understand why she had it. And she was going through menopause, and so why wouldn't she have, like a reaction or something like that? So every time, I might have a little hot flash and I feel like a microwave, I'm thinking, am I okay? Am I okay? Okay, I'm okay. Just check yourself. So, lifestyle modification, smoking, stop smoking. After 1 year of stopping smoking, the risk of coronary artery disease is reduced by 50%. Okay, manage weight. This is the hardest one for me because I'm working on it. And you guys, hopefully next month, my face will be thinner. I am working on this. I am working on this because I do want to live a long life. And so work on it with me, please. And tell me how you're doing so I can cheer you on. So prioritize 7 to 8 hours of quality sleep. Oh, doesn't that sound awesome? And then get regular physical activity. I'm telling you, doing the physical activity is not fun. But after you're done, you get the endorphin rush. I kind of love that. I don't know about you, Courtney, but I love that. That's my favorite part.
I love it. It's also calming to even just go for a walk out and like we have beautiful trail systems in Missouri. Like there's beautiful trails like Castlewood State Park.
Oh, so pretty.
It's the best view ever. And it's a stress reliever too. Not only are you getting that physical activity, but you're calming yourself too. So,
Right, exactly what my brother says to me, he was living in Colorado. You don't need to be in the mountains to have the mountaintop experience.
yeah, absolutely. Go to Castlewood. Go to Castlewood. That is my favorite trail ever in the whole wide world. Like
It is so pretty.
by the
Oh
time
my
I get to the
goodness.
top, I'm like, but there's benches up there to sit on.
That's why they're there.
Yep.
They're my
I
bench.
gotta stop halfway through usually and take a breather, but I make it.
It's good. It's good stuff. So they also say to avoid foods high in saturated fat and trans fat, limit sodium intake, limit sugar in your diet, limit processed foods, eat plenty of fiber, eat plenty of fruits and vegetables, lean meats and fish, and hydrate properly by drinking the recommended amount of water per day. Woohoo! So, and limit alcohol consumption. Woohoo! So today at the Alzheimer's Association meeting, the guy that was presenting, he was a physical trainer and he goes, okay, if it grows, if it walks on the ground, if it swims, eat it. He goes, if it doesn't do any of that, he goes, hello. And he goes, I don't want the rice roni to come back and tell me, or Chef Boyardee to come back and tell me, oh no, you should never have said that. I don't want him to be mad at me either, but I love those things. But if he goes, if you can't pronounce those words on the back, he said, you can't put it in your mouth. And I'm like, oh my gosh. He goes, that's the diet we should all be on. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so true, right? Why do we make it so difficult for ourselves? I don't know.
It is
So
true. It's ironic it got brought up today of all days.
I know, and he was like, an apple a day. And the whole audience was like, keeps the doctor away. I mean, I still say that. So what do I have on my desk? A bunch of apples.
There you
Okay.
go.
Now you
There
got to
you
encourage
go.
me to eat them. So small changes can make a huge impact. And that's what he was saying today too. He's like, don't just think you're going to change everything in a day. Just take one little thing. Like you were saying, take a walk for 30 minutes a day, move your body daily. And I was talking to my client yesterday who is a trainer. She's 83 and she's a trainer. She's amazing. She's like, oh, Diane, you can just push against your counter, 10 times, raise your legs 10 times, crisscross your legs. She said, at least you did something. And I'm like, I love you. She goes, yeah. And she said, and you should tell yourself every day, at least I did something. She said, don't try and like win the Olympics. I thought, I know. I look at those people recently in the Olympics and I'm like, wow, that's amazing. She
I
goes,
could never
you're
do
not.
that, but that is so amazing.
She goes, but you can crisscross your legs 10 times. You can push against your counter. And she goes, and you can take a walk first thing in the morning and really feel good about yourself. And she said, and just start your day off. And I thought, okay, she's right. This is why she's lived to 83 and she's vibrant and she's healthy and her mind is alert and everything. So practice stress relief tools such as meditation. I will tell you, if you've never tapped, have you ever tapped? where you tell yourself positive thoughts, and you tap on your meridians of your brain and your body and all this stuff. It's very fun, and you do feel good after you do it. So meditation, tapping, whatever it is, it can even be talking to a friend like me talking to you. That helps your brain. So, and it helps your body and helps your blood flow. In fact, I will tell you, this is so fun because you know how it really gets loud in a room when you go to a party, all of a sudden it's quiet and then it goes boom, and everybody starts talking. Have you ever noticed that?
Yeah.
Okay, this happened this morning in this meeting at the Alzheimer's, kickoff for the corporate kickoff for St. Louis, and they announced, they are number 6 out of 600 walks, and which
Woo,
is awesome.
that is
Oh,
amazing.
from 8, and so what they were saying is, oh, listen to everybody talk. It's great brain activity. Well, the science behind it is this. Most people in the room didn't know each other. And so most people were meeting new people at the same time. We get really, really excited when we meet new people. It fires in our brain the same place where hearing music for the first time fires in our brain.
Oh, wow.
So here's the best thing to do for your brain and for your heart and for all your blood to get going. Meet new people at a concert while you're hearing the music for the first time. Woo!
There you go.
That's some good health. And then drink more water while you're there. And then also you can cook at home more often and make that fun. If there's someone in your life that loves to cook, cheer them on because it's a social activity, and then it's going to get your blood pumping. So remember, progress over perfection always. So I always think of one of my professors, and he would say, "Po buddy's nerfect." And he'd look at me, and I would try and be so perfect in the class because it was a music class, and I wanted the composition to be great and everything. And he would look at me and he'd say, "Po buddy's nerfect." And that meant, okay, I don't have it perfect yet, but it's okay. Everything's great. So don't hold yourself to such a standard that you can't reward yourself by saying nice things to yourself. And I had to learn that, and I'm still learning that. I think that my reward comes from the exterior. A lot of times it's that self-talk. And I think it's only the self-talk now that we say to ourselves, "Hey, self, good for you for taking a walk. Hey, self, good for you for 8 hours," because you're listening to that inner voice, and that inner voice is calming you, and it's de-stressing you too. So you can't manage what you do not know, right? We can't manage what we don't know. So you need to complete your regular doctor's visits and checkups. You need to keep up with your friendships and your relationships. And you need to let everyone know how you're doing, your trusted people, and let them know. And you need to get consistent checks like your blood pressure. So you have baselines. And that way, if it's off, then you have something to compare it to, and you can say, well, it's changed. And then complete regular cholesterol screenings. Oh my goodness. This is so important. And then complete blood sugar checks regularly, and family history or diagnosis of diabetes when that's present. Make sure that you are completing those blood sugar checks. So when you go and have your wellness visit each year, make sure that you do the lab work. Even though the doctor might say, "Hey, you're doing good." Go get the lab work done just for the mere fact of having that baseline of you're doing really good. So when you're not doing really good, they know what you can achieve and what your body's been able to do before. So they can set better parameters for you to achieve those things. So that could impact your ability to do physical therapy, speech therapy, occupational therapy, and have all those services actually maximize who you're supposed to be by having those baselines. So for more information about heart health, you can check out heart.org, and there's many things. You can go to the American Heart Association, and you can go to the cdc.gov. But I'm going to say right now, Courtney, what do you think the biggest challenge is for people that work all the time? What do you think the biggest challenge is to keep our heart healthy?
I think it's probably taking that time out for ourselves. We get so busy with life and life throwing things at us, like we were talking about,
Hmm.
that we don't take the time out for ourselves. After losing my mom, I decided to, I needed to start going to the doctor regularly because I hadn't before. I
Hmm.
wasn't getting those checks, and lo and behold, my blood pressure was high, like extremely high to the point where I had to be put on medication. Granted, I am off the medication now. I was able to those modifiable factors, I was able to, modify some of them. And I also asked, my doctors, it's asking questions. We were afraid to ask questions so many times, I feel like, because we're fear of the answer is going to be wrong, maybe, or we don't want to hear
Right.
that answer. But
Right.
I said, is there any medicines that I could take that would help me maybe modify the factors and modify the blood pressure? And lo and behold, my answer was Zepbound. Zepbound
Right.
actually has a heart protective factor in it as well, and my blood pressure has been stable ever since, and I haven't had to take the medicine. So,
That's awesome. I think that a lot of times when people, in fact, I'll use myself as an example. When dad passed, and this was 2 years ago, the grieving process for that, to go on with work and to, just meet with clients and do all those things, it's kind of like I had to push it down into, it feels like you're pushing grief down into your body. And then what happens is it feels like for me, it bubbles up like it and it gets stuck at my heart. And so like my blood pressure goes up. I'm like, okay, I can handle it. I can handle it. There's more. I can handle this. I can handle this. And it's not mind over matter. You're going to feel it somewhere in your body.
right,
It's that's and I think it's something where we as women, we think, oh, we can handle more. As long as we don't talk about it, then we can handle it. But it's when we start talking about it that we actually release it and release that stress, and we find out we're not alone. And that was the thing this year. It was United Healthcare that asked me. They said, Diane, as a broker, can you come and do our booth at the American Heart Association over in the Westport Playhouse? I said, sure. What time do I need to be there? Well, I was told 6:15 in the morning. So for me, that means 6:30. And so I got there at 6:30. I was one of two people that were there, and then everybody else came at 7:30. But I got to see the full setup of everything. I got to meet everyone that was there, all the businesses that were there, all the games that they had set up for everyone. I got to find out why different people were walking for other people and who they were dedicating the walk to. I got to meet all these wonderful people that work for United Healthcare and several of the other companies that were there too. And it was one where the community of the Heart Association was so prevalent that it wasn't like taboo to talk about it or to talk about the grief of your family. That's it's almost like there's a shame in it, that your family has heart disease, or your family has taken the high blood pressure medications, or your family has had a stroke, or that kind of thing. And I don't think there's any shame in it. I think it's one where the more we talk about it, the more we're going to get our answers, and we're just starting this conversation. And I think it's awesome that you listen to your body and that you sought that out. And I also think it's awesome that you have created the Tune In Tuesday, and that you do this research to bring it to everyone to make sure that they have this information, because your heart is so big that you just want to help as many people as possible through education. And I believe in you, and I believe in being able to do that, because there's only so much that I can do, as an insurance professional. I could talk to people and say, do you have this in your family? But it's really up to them to be educated and say, well, if I face the the heart attack, am I going to want to have insurance that covers me. And so that way I can get the latest and greatest drugs that are out there to help me, or I can get the latest and greatest treatment, or I can afford a physical trainer, or I can afford more, physical fitness as well as a personal trainer, whatever it may be. So there are plans out there that allow you to have an amount of money that comes to you when you would have a heart attack or when you would discover that you have heart disease. So I encourage everyone to talk to their broker. You don't have to talk to me. If you want to talk to me, great. Call me. You know how to reach me through my website or call Courtney. But I encourage everyone to talk to their broker about getting heart disease covered as one of those options for you so that you don't have to finance it because it can be very expensive. The new drugs that we're seeing, the Ozempics, the Zepbounds, the GLP-1s, the ones that have been tried and tested, not the ones that are the offshoots or that you can get GLP-1, the ones that are actually approved. If you had to pay for those, the average is $500 a month without insurance. So definitely talk to your insurance advisor or talk to your broker and see what's available to you. Because when it happens and when you start to get those symptoms, make sure that you're talking to your doctor, but also make sure that you're reaching out to your insurance person before it's too late, before you're uninsurable. That's important too. Because heart disease, if left untreated, it can be one where you're completely uninsurable for most products, and you have to get guaranteed issue products. But that's a whole other conversation. The main thing is watch for the signs and make sure that you are protecting your heart and your mind and your body, and that you have a buddy like Courtney so you can be honest and open and have an accountability partner. So I know she's going to be bugging me. Get more water.
Yep. After Tony's little hospital visit, I said, "You're drinking more water, buddy."
Get more sleep.
Yeah, that too. That too.
Yes, yes. And make sure that when you're going through hard things that you've got somebody to talk to and to reach out. And if you're going through heart disease and you need to talk to someone, call the American Heart Association because they do have groups that you can talk to or individuals you can talk to. And if you need that number, you can look it up, by Google, or you can just call us and we'll give you several different opportunities to have community over this. So you're not alone. You're not alone. 65 million people. Holy cow. It's a lot of people not talking about this, but we are. So have the heart to talk about the heart.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just want to say, you help more people than you ever could comprehend, honestly. Like you help so many people, so many people, and you have the biggest heart. So thank you for making it possible.
Of course, of course. I look forward to next month. What are we talking about next month? What's on
Next
the
month,
agenda?
it's advocacy awareness.
Oh,
So it's
yay.
advocating for yourself because a lot of organizations, they take their issues to the Capitol in April. A lot of them do. Not all of them, but a lot of them do. That's when I did my first advocacy day at the Capitol with Voice, was in April. So I thought that was a good topic for that month.
Yes, and Voice is the ombudsman program. In Missouri, Courtney worked with over 500 nursing homes, and it was people that didn't have a family member to represent them, and so they needed an ombudsman, someone to speak up for their rights and have better care within all of the nursing homes on the eastern side of Missouri. So that's how Courtney and I met, and I knew, whoo, she's got this heart. Let's put it to work. And let's just make sure this heart of yours is protected from
Right.
now on. I'm going to order some more water today for us.
And you already have
So
apples, so
I know I've got the apples. I even got peanuts. And my husband goes, "Why'd you get peanuts?" He said, "People have an allergy to peanuts." And I said, "I don't. I'll
I
just
don't
eat them
either.
myself."
I don't either. I ate some the other day, so
Oh my gosh. And they're always so good. It's just one of those quick snacks where you just feel good about it, right?
yep,
Oh my gosh.
yep.
Apples are the same way. And then when I eat one, I'm like, why didn't I have one a while ago? It's one of those things where that old saying of, oh, I could have had a V8. I could have had an apple. Bananas too.
Oh yes,
Go
yes.
bananas for bananas. But that's what the funny thing was at that walk for the association, for the Heart Association. There was all this healthy food. Oh my gosh. There were like smoothies and you don't think of that as healthy. I think of that like a treat, but oh my gosh, they were delicious. So one of these days we'll have to post some really yummy recipes that
Yeah.
go with this heart health recipes. Oh, like fish. Ooh, yummy. So again, folks, if it doesn't walk, if it didn't swim, and it didn't grow, then don't eat it.
There you go. You heard
New
it from
rules.
Diane.
All right. In closing, you have anything last to say to everybody, Courtney?
No, I just want to thank everybody, for listening to us and giving us the chance to try to help as many people as we can.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much, everybody. And we will see you next month.
Bye.
Bye.